Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Linda. Here on this channel, I share videos about sewing, pattern drafting, and everything in fashion. On today's tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how to sew this button-down flare dress with bishop collar. And if this seems like what you're interested in, you might want to hit the subscribe button and also tap on the notification bell for more videos like this. So guys, for this tutorial, I'm going to be making use of Ankara print. You'll be needing about 3 yards to 3.5 yards for this. Firstly, you need to fold your fabric in bias form like this, and it should look like this underneath. And then you need to determine the wideness at which you want to use for the width. But for me, I'll be making use of 30 inches. If you want, you can make that lesser. So I went ahead to mark 2 inches from this part all the way down for the button, and then I ruled it all the way from the top to the lower part. After you're done with that, the next thing you need to do is to mark the shoulder measurement. So for you to mark a shoulder measurement, you'll be needing the half of a shoulder measurement like this. And for me, I have 8 inches. So I'm just going to take my tape rule from this part after the 2 inches mark, okay? Then I'll connect it. So if you want to measure this, you need to adjust it to make sure that your 8 inches mark is starting right from this part, just like you see me doing. And then mark your shoulder measurement divided by 2. So after you're done with that, just go ahead and connect the lines into a straight form like this with your ruler. And the next thing you need to do is to mark 3 inches from this line, just like you see me doing, for the neck width. And then for the depth, you need to mark 3 inches to 3.5. For me, I'm making use of 3.5, okay? So after that, you go ahead and connect it into a curve with your curved ruler. So after you are done with that, you need to go downwards at this point for the shoulder slope by 1 inch and then connect it into a slanted line. After you are done with that, the next thing you're going to do is to measure your armhole measurement. So your round armhole divided by 2 is what you're going to mark here. For me, I have 8 inches. So I'll just go ahead and connect the line. So guys, as soon as you're done connecting the armhole line, the next thing you're going to do right now is to take your bust point measurement. So just go ahead and mark your bust point line here and then connect the line as well. Lest I forget, this dress doesn't need any waistline measurement, okay? So you just need the neck, shoulder, bust line and length. So the next thing you need to do after drawing this line is to take the quarter of your bust circumference, okay? For me, I have 9 inches, so I'm just going to be marking 9.5 for ease. And then I also repeat the same thing around this part of the armhole because it's also my chest line. After you're done with that, just come to the armhole line, divide the distance between this part in 2 and then take the midpoint. From there, you are going to be moving inwards by 0.5 inches and then use a French curve to draw the armhole curve. So guys, after you're done with that, the next thing you're going to do is to take the length of your dress. So for me, I have about 37 inches from this point, and I'm just going to mark and connect it into a straight line. Well, my line wasn't that straight after all, but that is going to serve the purpose. So the next thing I'll do is just to go ahead and mark my flare. So you need to make use of your pants curve or your freehand, whichever one you have available. So just go ahead and take the measurement you have from this part of the chest line to the length. I have 27 inches and I'm just going to mark this side to become shorter. So I'll be marking 23 inches here. So 27 inches minus 5 inches, what I have is 23 inches. So I'm just going to connect it with my curved ruler. After you're done with that, the next thing you're going to do is to draw a curve to meet at this line. You just need to take your time and then give it a nice shape. Okay, so I had to redraw it because I felt that this particular one I drew wasn't that rounded after all, but I'll still correct it as we move on. So you need to open up the front before separating your front piece, and I'll go ahead and just cut out another piece of fabric to fill in this part. So guys, that is it for the front. The next thing I'll be doing right now is to cut out the back. I folded my back piece and then I placed one of the front piece like this with my button allowance folded inwards. So just go ahead and adjust it to lay flat perfectly before cutting it out. Before cutting out your back piece, the first thing you're going to be doing is just to go ahead and measure this armhole outwards. For the back armhole, what I did was just adding back the 5 inch I removed from the front armhole, that's to make up for the back armhole. And then you move over to the neckline. You need to deduct 1 inch for the back neckline. and then go ahead and connect it into a curve line to meet up with the front. So after I was done marking my curve, the next thing I did was to take out half of an inch, which I added initially at the front because I want the shoulder to come down a little bit. So I'll just add half of an inch to the back plus extra half of an inch I just took away from the front. That is to make up for 1 inch, and then connect the line. After connecting the line, I went ahead to cut out the back halfway through, and then I decided to add 3 inches down below at the length. So the back is going to become a little bit longer than the front by 3 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 3 inches here and connect it to create my curve. So after I was done curving it out, I'm still sure that my hand wasn't so rounded. So I just have to make do with what I have. So that will be all for the front and the back. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to cut out the sleeves. So for the sleeves, I folded another piece of fabric into 2. That will be enough for my round sleeve. After doing so, you need to draw 1 inch to 1.5 inch for the hem. And from there, I'm going to be moving upwards to draw the length of my sleeve, which is 10 inch. Okay, so from there you need to come down by at least 4 inches to 4.5 for your cap sleeve. So I'll just go ahead and connect this part as my cap's height. After doing that, the next thing you need to do is to go ahead and just measure your round armhole and then divide it by 2. Mark half of your armhole measurement there plus extra 1.5 inch or 2 inches thereabout. So the next thing you do is just to go ahead and draw a slanted line from your cap's height to the tip of your sleeves. Then from there, you need to divide that particular line you drew just now into 2 equal halves. Then take your midpoint. After taking your midpoint, then just go ahead and create an S curve like you see me pointing. So to bring out the shape of your sleeve, you need to place your curve ruler this way, starting from that point, then mark it upwards by half of an inch to connect at the tip, and then flip it the other way around to connect the lower part. So there you have it. That is the sleeve coming into place and taking its shape. So now the next thing I'll do right now is just to come down at this point about 2 inches, and then I'm just going to be taking the round measurement from my bicep. So I'll be marking a little bit of ease allowance there just to make it free, and then I'll be adding back my 2 inches sewing allowance. And then at the length of my sleeve, I went ahead to mark the roundness of my sleeve divided by 2. Then I added my 2 inches extra sewing allowance. So after you're done marking those points, just go ahead and connect the lines like you see me doing. You also need to fold in the hemming allowance before cutting out your sleeve. So guys, this is what I have after I was done cutting out the first sleeve. I'm going to be cutting out the second sleeve to make up for 2. After I was done cutting out the both sleeves, I gave it a notch at the top. Then the next thing I'll do is to attach it to my dress. So this is what I have after I was done joining the shoulder part of the dress. So I'll just go ahead and adjust it this way and then attach my sleeves just like this. To do that, you have to place your sleeves right side to right side, facing each other with the dress, and then using the notch point as a guide. You also need to hem the lower part by folding it twice and then stitch it at the machine. And after that, you go ahead and do the same thing on the other side of the sleeve as well. So guys, this is what I have after I was done fixing the sleeve. So it's time to close it at the side. So just go ahead and place it this way, right side to right side, facing each other, and then stitch it at the sides and repeat the same thing at the other side. Just go ahead and stitch it by 1 inch. After doing that, the next thing you need to do is to stitch the bottom part. So just go ahead and fold it twice using the line you marked at this point as a guide. You need to also notch it before making such a decision. So after you're done with that, just fold it twice this way. Make sure that your fold is stopping at the line or the notch you gave at the beginning like this before stitching it down all the way to the end of the dress. This is what I have after I was done stitching the both sides of the button. So the next thing I will do right now is to go ahead and fix the pocket. First, you need to take the measurements at which you want to start fixing your pocket. So I'll go ahead and measure 6 inches from this part of the armhole. Just place your tape rule from this part and take it down to the length you want your pocket to start from. So I'll be marking 6 inches for my own case. If you want, you can mark 7 inches. So from that line, go ahead and measure another 6 inches like you see me doing, and then mark your line. Also, you need to do the same thing at the other side. And after you're done with the marking, just go ahead and hem the lower part. So I'll go ahead and also cut out the collar for the neckline after cutting out my pockets. For my pockets, I folded my fabric into 2 by 12 inch and I just measured 12 inch from this part. using my tape rule, and then I went inwards by 6 inches. So I'll just go ahead and connect it with my straight ruler and then also connect the other part. So afterwards, I went ahead to cut it out before giving it its shape. So for me to give it its shape, I went ahead to just open up this part, and then I used my curve ruler to give it a slight curve like this and then cut it out. After cutting out the both sides, I now have 4 pieces for each pocket. And so guys, to fix my pocket, I went ahead to mark and notch ½ inch above the line where I marked my chalk line, because I want my pocket to be starting from there. And then I repeated the same thing down below. I'll be measuring ½ inch below, and then I'll go ahead and notch it as well. And after I was done, I repeated the same thing for the other side of the pocket. So guys, to fix your pocket, go ahead and pick one leaflet of the pocket and then place it one side, right side to right side, facing each other with the main dress, and then make sure you use ½ inch to stitch it down from the chalk line where I marked, just like you see me pointing. And then also do the same thing on the other side as well. Make sure you have 2 for each side before closing the pockets. After you're done, just go ahead and run a stitch this way along the sides by 1 inch. Just close the sides of the pocket by ½ inch, and then to the other side as well before completing the rest of the stitches down below. I'll also do the same thing for the other side. So guys, this is what I have after I was done fixing my pockets. Now it's time to work on the neckline and fix the collar. First of all, just go ahead and fold your neckline into 2 equal halves like this, just like you see me doing. Make sure you notch the midpoint to get the accurate measurement for that area. So just go ahead and take a measurement with your tape rule to get what you have. So I have 10 inches there, and I'm going to impute it on this piece of fabric here. So I folded my fabric into 2 equal halves and measured 10 inches, and from there I went down by 2 inches and also measure 2 inches here. So I'll just go ahead and connect it with a straight ruler for the size of the collar. So after I was done, I went ahead to cut this out just like you see me doing. I also curved it a little bit inwards, and then I connected the line to give it a little curve at the outer part. So after I was done, this is what I have. I also cut out 2 pieces for it, and I attached my paper stay on both sides of the collar. Afterwards, next thing I did was to find its midpoint, and then I went ahead to notch it, and afterwards I'm going to give it a shape at this part at the top like this, just a little curve. So just go ahead and curve it out by ½ inch like this to give it the shape of the collar. So this is what it looks like after I was done. The next thing we need to do is to stitch it by ½ inch all the way around at the top, and then you need to leave about ½ inch on the lower part just for it to turn it over. So after I was done stitching, I went ahead to notch it all around. So guys, after you're done notching, the next thing you need to do is to head over to the ironing board, flip it over to the right side, and then give it a nice press. So for you to press it, you need to also fold in a little bit piece on the lower part, just like you see me doing, and that's just about ½ inch inwards. Then place your dress on the wrong side facing upwards, and also adjust your collar to fit in using the notch point you gave initially. So I'll be fixing my collar from the inside, which means the right side of the collar is going to be facing the wrong side of the dress, and then I'll go ahead and attach it just like you see me pointing. Afterwards, I will just go ahead and flip it backwards and also fix the back. It's very simple as such that you need to just bring in the excess and then stitch it inwards. Make sure you seal in the excess of the rough edges you see there, and then you have a neat finishing after you're done stitching. And then the last step is to fix the button and the buttonhole. If you like this video, kindly hit the subscribe button and also turn your notification bell for more videos like this. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.